retailer Bunnings has been found to have breached privacy laws over its use of facial recognition technology on customers. Kate Bauer is a digital rights advocate who has investigated this practice, and she joins me now. Kate, this is being called a landmark finding. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so what we've seen the news from the Privacy Commissioner this morning is that it's been found that Bunnings has breached the privacy law. The Privacy Commissioner found that they collected the sensitive information of shoppers shopping in Bunnings stores, and that by doing that they did not get adequate consent and they did not comply with a number of the Australian privacy principles. So this has been a bit of a long time coming. It's been 2.5 years since the investigation started, but this really is a landmark decision on facial recognition use in Australia.
And can you give us some context around this practice? Kmart was trialling this too. When did the practice start? When was it paused and why?
So the Choice investigation uncovered this in June 2022, but it appears that the technology had been in use in both Bunnings and Kmart for a number of years prior to that. Both of them then paused the technology while the Privacy Commissioner investigates, and today we've seen a determination on what Bunnings did, but we're still waiting to find out what in fact will be discovered about Kmart. But what we've seen is that there's very similar issues across both. Both of them were using facial recognition technology widely throughout stores and completely unknown to customers. What we found in that earlier investigation is that more than 70% of people had no clue that in fact these retailers were using this technology.
And so this will have major implications for how Australian businesses use this kind of technology in the future.
Yeah, that's right. So basically what this means is it doesn't just apply to retail, it will apply to all entities regulated under the Privacy Act. So that means in other situations, for example, like stadiums or perhaps gaming venues, they'll need to look very, very closely at the details of this determination to find out if in fact their use of facial recognition technology is legal.
As to why it's used, what reasons did the companies give for using this technology?
So Bunnings said that they were using this technology to prevent antisocial behaviour and for security purposes. But what's really important in this decision from the Privacy Commissioner, Carly Kind, is that she pointed out the disproportionate nature of using this very, very invasive and very intrusive technology for that purpose. So one of the features of the Privacy Act is that you must use the least invasive type of technology or method of collection available. And that's what Bunnings has failed to do in this case. So essentially they were using a technology that's kind of like collecting almost like a fingerprint every time you walk into the store across all individuals, including children, and not just targeting those high-risk individuals. So that's what's very pleasing about this determination today, is that really sets a clear guardrail around what's acceptable and that this kind of biometric collection isn't acceptable in this context.
And the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner has set out a number of requirements for the company to fulfil, that is Bunnings. Now that includes not repeating this, doing some deleting and also publishing a statement. What do we know about this?
That's right. So they've been told that they must delete any information that they still hold, that they have to publish a statement publicly that says that this determination has been made, and make efforts to correct any of the breaches which they've done. So that includes the fact that they didn't adequately inform customers and adequately get their consent. They didn't adequately update their privacy policies to reflect this. So they'll need to be able to make those corrections and they'll need to stop the practice and not do it again. I think that sets a really clear message for other retailers who've been thinking about using this technology, that it's just not on. It doesn't reflect what customers want and what consumers want. And now, as the Privacy Commissioner has determined, it is also a breach of the law.